Hey, welcome back everybody. I've got 3 things that I want to talk to you about today. Cheating in poker, a recent session that I played, cheating in poker, and a story that I was reminded of when I found this hat at a thrift store. Hey, what's up? Welcome back. It has been a while, and the poker world is on fire right now. People are all over the place to the point that for the first time in a very long time, someone at work wanted to discuss poker with me, saying, hey, did you see this Jack 4 offsuit nonsense and cheating scandal? What do you think? I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you guys. I'm sure most of you are familiar if you clicked on this video and are wanting to find out what's going on. Basically what happened is Garrett Adelstein, who plays high stakes on stream all the time, ended up playing with someone who appears to be a newer player. That player called all in on the turn with Jack high, holding Jack 4 offsuit without a major draw or anything like that, calling it a bluff catcher, then saying they misread their hand, then saying that they were calling down hoping he had ace high. None of that seems to make a whole lot of sense to me. So I personally am going to wait and say that you never know. It's plausible that it's not a guarantee that it's cheating. Sure seems like cheating. If you watch back the moment, and I'll put a link in the description below to give you a chance to watch the moment played back so you can hear it yourself, see it yourself, and I'll put that all at the end of this thing. But basically, if you take the moment that you start to hear cheating, and you've got Bart Hansen commentating, who is a brilliant mind in poker, and you have Garrett playing the hand. In the moment as the hand's unfolding, you can hear Bart not only being surprised, but then starting to kind of realize the gravity of this moment, that something doesn't smell quite right. You can hear it in the way that he's talking through the hand. And Garrett, who is a good sport when he loses, when he gets called down legitimately and gets called light, he is willing to be a good sport and to say, hey, well played, is, having fun through this whole thing until the cards get flipped up, and you can see a moment that goes through his head of not just concern of, wait, how did you have that? I've played cards so many times that I can put you on what you should and shouldn't have, and this is not in the even close to the range of things that a halfway reasonable person, even someone who doesn't really understand poker, should not be making the moves that were made here. It seems really suspicious, and you can watch Garrett's mind as he kind of begins to think through the moment and consider what's just happened to him. I personally am going to say that you can hear both of these great minds almost simultaneously. You can watch Garrett and hear Bart and think to yourself, boy, both of these guys know something doesn't feel right. And the whole rest of the drama that unfolds following the hand, with money being given back, yelling at the table over the money being given back, he said this, she did that, all these things where it's a lot of he said, she said, and we don't know everything. An investigation is apparently being opened from what I understand, and we're going to see what actually comes out of this. My gut tells me something just isn't quite right. Now, again, I was playing cards with Marco the other night, and Marco, who I went to high school with, we happened to catch up at the table the other night, and he said something that I completely agree with. If it looks like a turd and it smells like a turd, it's probably a turd. That's about how I felt about this situation. It just doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel right. And if I had to guess, I would say something is going on. How is it happening? There's a bunch of theories. I'm not going to go into those. Some of them are even a little bit gross, and I don't really want to entertain that or spend a lot of time on that here. There's a ton of videos you can watch, but I wanted to give you my 2 cents, and my 2 cents is, needs to be investigated, looks awfully suspicious. If this player was absolutely getting clobbered and losing every other hand and just went wild and went all in pre-flop or did something like that, I would be a lot less suspicious, obviously. But when you make a very, very suspect call, all in for $100,000 or so on the turn, basically drawing dead to even the bluffs. So if you're in the mindset of a poker player at all and you think I'm bluff catching, I mean, the hands that are potentially bluffing you here, like a queen jack, are beating Jack 4. So, and when you say, oh, I think it was ace high, well, you're losing to ace high. You can also see that she spends time checking her cards, so when she says she misread her hand, pretty hard to believe that based off of the live stream and what we saw on camera. I don't know. Doesn't seem to add up to me, and the story seems to be very fluid. Whenever it needs to change, it changes, and it adapts to the situation to try to paint herself innocent. I don't know. And also, I have a hard time trusting a person whose face is basically completely paralyzed. If you watch her in the hand, she looks like that for basically the entire hand. Anyway, that's not important or relevant to the story, but I don't know. Something just seemed suspect the entire time. That's my 2 cents. I haven't spent hours and hours and hours digging into it, but I've been talking about it at the table with a lot of people, and the consensus feeling is that something is up. I'll give you this one other thought that I haven't heard anybody say, and perhaps somebody has said it out there already, but I played in games years ago in Seattle, and I remember people who seemed fairly clueless on poker, but have at least spent enough time to realize that, like, 2 big cards are good. Like, maybe they would get king queen, or I saw somebody with ace jack re-raise pre-flop and then bet, bet, bet. They never made a hand, or sorry, their opponent went bet, 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 and they called all 3 streets having absolutely nothing, but in their mind they had a good hand because pre-flop ace jack was a good hand. I can understand it. If it was something like that, I would think, okay, maybe there's some ignorance there. But Jack 4, even a bad player is going to look at Jack 4 and think, this kind of stinks. It's not suited, so it's pretty hard to say, oh, I was, hoping to get a flush draw. There's no real draws here. It just doesn't add up. So if there was something like an ace queen or ace jack kind of a hand pre-flop that just didn't hit anything and got called off because, hey, it's a good card pre-flop, good hand pre-flop, okay, I would maybe go along with it. But this just doesn't feel right, doesn't look right, and it smells like a turd. I think it's a turd. All right, let's move on. So I played a session about a week and a half ago, and I ended up playing at Quest, playing some 1-3. I got a very short session in. I had 1 big hand from there, and I ended up sharing it in a short. Basically, I'm going to get pocket queens. I flop the set. I get the money all in by the turn against the villain, and we end up scooping a nice pot. I went on to win a couple other pots there, and we book a win of $430. And so that means Patreon supporter Justin, who was selected, you have $43 coming your way, and I will be sending that to you soon. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the love. So glad to be sending you some money. It is headed your way soon. Thanks again. All right, finally, we got to wrap up with this. I was walking through the thrift store and I saw this hat. It reminded me of a story from a time that I played cards out at Quest years ago, and I just got to share it with you guys because it's a fun story. So I'm playing 1-3 at Quest, and the game's pretty casual, pretty laid back. The table's kind of talking and enjoying just the camaraderie, community, whatever. So we've been playing for maybe an hour, and a guy comes in and sits down, and he's probably 60-ish. Retired, said he was a computer programmer from Montana. We're talking, and he's telling me his life story. But as he's talking the whole time, his voice doesn't really fit his appearance. He's a fairly clean-cut fella, hair's not too long, not too crazy. But the vibe that he's giving out is a little more like this. Hey, yeah, I'm a computer programmer, and I live in Montana now. And I'm mostly retired, and I basically am just enjoying life now. And this guy was great. He was super fun to talk to, and he's winning while he's playing. He leans over as he's pulling some chips in, like he's got something really important to tell me. Hey man, did you know that weed is legal in Washington? Yeah, I know. It's been a couple years now. It's been legal, yep. Oh yeah, because I just found out on my way in here. I'm staying the night here tonight. And I picked up some brownies and a couple of extra things, and I'm pretty excited for it. It's gonna be a good night. Cool, man. Yeah, sure. Well, this trip is fun, and I'm really enjoying it, but I know that I can enjoy it a little bit more, if you know what I mean. And I think I'm going to. He spends the next 5 to 10 minutes explaining all the different ways he's going to enjoy himself. As though I was debating him, when in reality I wasn't at all. but he wanted to give me all the pros associated with having weed be legal. Yeah, you know, and it just really, it reduces violence and it reduces crime, and people just get along a lot better when it's legal. I'm still not debating him. You know, tax revenue and all those things, and you don't have people warring in the streets over this is my territory or that's your territory. I mean, if I can have a beer, why can't I have a bong, you know? Still not debating. And I just continue to play my cards while he debates himself over the pros and cons of having weed be legal. He goes on to play for quite a while here, and this dude is like, he's in some kind of poker matrix. He's dodging all the bullets when someone's got something good. He's able to get out of the way. And when he has the nuts, he's running up the walls and combo kicking people in the chest, and when they can't even respond. Finally, after he's more than doubled up, he leans in and tells me this little secret. This game is really good, and it's about to get a lot better. I'm gonna go upstairs and deploy the secret weapon. So our stony little Matrix opponent shuffles out of the room and off to his hotel room, and I would say somewhere around half an hour comes back down, and his eyes are a little red, and somehow he's speaking a little slower. Hey, I deployed the secret weapon. I hope you're ready for a fireworks show. This is gonna be awesome. He now proceeds to unwind his entire stack into the table, completely dumping all of his chips on his secret weapon, and just blows all of his money, buys in a couple more times, gives it all away, and I'm sure he was feeling good the whole time he did it, but that secret weapon was a secret weapon for the rest of the table, not for him. So anyway, kind of just a funny story that happened years ago, and I just love this guy shuffling in that you would never suspect is just a stony little MacGyver trying to weasel his way in and out of pots and win these things, and started really strong, deployed the secret weapon, and boom, gave it all back. So I got a lot of stuff coming your way. I've got sessions that I'm working on. I have caffeine and cards that I'm working on. I got a bunch of content that I want to get out to you as soon as I can. I will do my best to get that heading your way. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Have a great week.